I'm going with some cinnamon schnapps, and I'm not going to pour it into my eyes.
Captain's Pod, Stardate 512-0922.1. Welcome aboard the Starship's Enterprise, and thank you for joining us as we take a brief shore leave from the world of CinemaSins to explore the universe of Star Trek. I am your Captain Ian Whittington, and with me this week, it would take a motion picture to explore his wrath, but after a long search, our voyage to the final frontier is complete, and we return with an undiscovered Dicer. It's Commodore Aaron.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
it's much appreciated. No. Guys, settle down, please.
And with him, he has updated all of the consoles with fancy buttons. Originally, they were just decorative, but now he has a selection of buttons. I'm going to press one at random.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, if you can reach.
I mean, cricket was perfect, wasn't it? That was amazing. Welcome back to the ship, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to be back. It was really weird because I was just sitting at my house and just working on
why
stuff.
You weren't podcasting?
No, just sitting on a couch thinking, so weird that I'm not podcasting right now. And then I just got transported directly into a studio.
Yep.
To podcast, and I was like, oh, I guess the powers that be have called upon me to sit in front of a microphone. So here I am.
We are currently talking to HR about non-consensual transporting.
Yeah, it was a little bit. Yeah, I don't remember signing any consent forms.
Yeah, no, I'm not gerrymandering. What's the other one? Filibustering that one until gerrymandering with transporter beams would be really dangerous.
Sure.
Yep. So no ambassador. Yeah, no, that is her title. No ambassador Deneé this week. Either the Lint conversation actually pissed her off and she's making a Starship Linterprise, or she's still stuck in the transporter buffer. We will have to confirm exactly what happened to her next week, but she will return next week. Before we get into reviewing Season 3, Episode 3 of Star Trek Lower Decks, this is an awesome time to ask, what do you think of this season of Lower Decks so far?
I haven't seen a single episode of this show.
You are a get off my ship. I will make an entire new ship, but this is going to be made out of boogers. You're in charge of the USS Booger Prize.
Thank you. That's fine. I'll eat that up, man. So yes, I'm loving Lower Decks. I mean, come on, you know my sense of humor. Like Lower Decks is so right straight to my warp core. I mean, it is just like.
Fluxes your capacitors.
It is self-referential, it is meta, and at the same time, it is very original series Star Trek in many ways. Like it feels, like the episodes are kind of an homage to that. So yeah, I really dig it. I love the characters. I think they did a really good job establishing this core group of really fun people to hang out with. So if I'm hanging out with Boimler, I'm good because I find him hilarious.
He's the best. I have this soft spot for Rutherford. He's just on my level. He's just unassuming and like not even. Boimler's a little bit cocky. Rutherford is just so down to earth. I would hang out with him all day long.
Yeah.
So that's good. If you hated the show, this would be a really awkward. Actually, no, it might make for a better episode. Who knows? But no, I'm glad you're enjoying it because I don't think it came up when you were last on the show for Strange New Worlds.
No. Oh no, it did. Oh, it did, my friend. Because yes, it did. Because I called the crossover before it was ever announced on this show. If you go back and listen, I was the one like, these take place during the same time. How cool would it be? If there was a Strange New Worlds Lower Decks crossover where we saw the Lower Decks people in live action.
I'm so excited.
And I think that's been announced, right?
100%, 100% announced. So
that's so exciting. But so let me ask you a question. Do you think Jack Quaid is going to play the real life Boimler, or are they going to find somebody that looks like?
They've already confirmed that the voice actors will be playing their own characters.
All right. I mean, that makes the most sense.
100%. Yeah.
Even though not all of them look exactly like their characters.
No, not all of them. They don't.
But yeah, that makes the most sense.
The dolphins. The dolphins don't look anything like what the dolphin characters look like.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's true.
That's why I don't think it's going to be the full crew. I think they will be quite selective, and there's going to be some.
Do you think it'll be more cameo, or do you think it'll be for a majority of an episode?
No, I think it's a full crossover. I think it's like
crossover
Arrowverse,
episode.
full CW, how they do it. I love it so much.
Yeah.
My interesting thoughts is are they going to address, and I don't think they can, are they going to address in Strange New Worlds that it's animated? Like when Strange New Worlds, like I was under the impression that Strange New Worlds, some of them would be animated and go into lower decks, but I don't know how meta they'll be about addressing, oh hey, are we in a like everything everywhere all at once? Are we in an animated universe now?
The problem with that is then you genuinely have to start talking about a different universe.
Correct.
Other as soon as you are in lower decks, might be able to get Strange New Worlds couldn't get away with that.
No,
lower decks might be able to get away with that, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know how you don't just break everybody's brain and
I don't think
make it mean
to.
nothing. So
in fact, the more I think about it, I think it's more likely that they'll just turn up in person, and they just it's just crazy if they acknowledge it.
I should say, if somebody can fact check and go back and see that, listen to that conversation and see how it went. I have a tendency to take credit for things that aren't my own. So it's very possible somebody else said this, and I'm like, yeah, that was my idea, because my brain does that sometimes. I have a very arrogant brain in that way. Like if it's a good idea, I figure I had it.
I did that. I came up with that.
Right. Yeah.
At the minute, Deneé is just screaming at home. You motherfucker!
That was me. I did that. So yes, I probably should fact it. I literally had a discussion with my oldest son recently about a pun that I thought was mine. He's like, "No, Dad, that was mine."
No.
I still think it was mine, but I'm more than willing to go like, okay, yeah.
Memory doesn't always work like that.
You know, it's you can have it. You know,
that's very big of you. Even that is mildly arrogant.
Letting
him have the pun.
Yeah. No, I know as a human being, I certainly have the tendency to misremember things. So a little bit of fact checking might be good. But I'm almost sure that we had the conversation on the show.
Yeah,
and I'm somewhat sure that I was the one that threw it out there. So.
I'm relatively certain you've been on the show before, but I could be inventing that memory.
Fair enough.
Amazing. Well, with that, let's head over to 10 Forward for episode 3 of season 3 of Lower Decks. The mines mining the miners, the miners mining mines, mining miners, mines.
I don't think you got that right.
Nope,
I don't think that is the correct title.
I remember exactly what I said, and what I said was mining the mines. I don't know. It's a shame we didn't record it.
Yeah, that's too bad. Too bad.
To beam to the Cerritos. Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab a drink from the replicator and share our immediate thoughts and feelings on the episode we just watched together. Most important question first, what is your beverage of choice, Ambassador? Commodore.
Thank you.
He just reads whatever's on the prompt.
No, listen, I have been the ambassador for a while, or the Commodore. Either the Commodore or the Ambassador.
No, Commodore.
I'm going with some cinnamon schnapps, and I'm not going to pour it into my eyes.
Which is strange, because I have tied your arms into that position where you can't get to them. Yeah. That's amazing. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might just have some water. I'm going to be boring. Unless you can liquefy one of those dream crystals and make it into a juice drink that I can then control my dreams over, because I never remember my dreams.
Interesting.
That would be nice.
I wonder what would happen if you ground that up and put it in a smoothie, in one of those rocks.
I guarantee that people are snorting that stuff. There's no way those crystals exist and people aren't smoking them, snorting them, or imbibing them in some fashion.
Or having sex with them. You know, everything serves a purpose. Yes.
Hey, if you put a blue Andorian in front of me, I'm going to be having thoughts about that.
Wait, is the Andorian... We're not into it yet, but I have to ask. The Andorian at one point when she's talking about something, being excited about something, her antenna kiss each other. Is that something the Andorian do, or was that just a little animation fun piece of... I
don't know about the kissing specifically, but they do move around.
Yeah, her antenna definitely were like smooching above her head.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, okay, no, not something... I don't know if they get entangled.
Okay, I wondered if it was just like a little wink, like a winky, like even her antenna are trying to be sensual.
I think that's exactly what it was. Yeah, I think that's it. But it's one of my favorite things in Enterprise when there's a recurring Andorian, and however he's feeling is given away by his antennas. And when he's sad, they're a little bit droopy, and then he's excited and they go up.
Yeah. It's like a puppy dog with the tail.
Little puppy dog. Yeah. I love it. So this week, the crew of the Cerritos team up with another California-class ship to deal with a diplomatic snafu, or the aftermath of a diplomatic snafu between some Survey team people and an alien species of rocks, and shenanigans happen because they have stumbled across some crystals that bring your dreams, nightmares, and everything to life.
Well, the rocks are just designed or exist to bring your fantasies to reality. But then once they're broken, then the other things happen. So.
And other things happen on top of that.
Yes.
So initial thoughts, feelings, emotions, enjoyability. What were your thoughts on this episode, Aaron?
I love everything about Lower Decks. I could watch any Lower Decks episode and have a good time. Because here's the thing, like, even if the plot or the story or whatever isn't, making sense or engaging to me, or
which they
whatever,
know it isn't.
I'm just so enamored by the humor. And I just, it's just a lot of fun. So I had a great time with it. Add to that the fact that I think it is, a plot that's interesting and touches on, things we've seen before. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I really, really enjoyed this episode. It was kind of a bit calmer, a little bit like last week as well. It wasn't quite as 1,000 miles an hour. It just feels like the show has really found its groove. It's found its oomph. It's just settling into almost like not having to prove itself and just come up with some original adventures that are still very, very familiar. Like a lot of this is like stuff we've seen. It's almost like they get episodes from TNG and TOS and stuff and then just take half from there, and then make something completely new. So yeah. I really, really enjoyed it as well. We got to see, I think the biggest cameo this week was Dr. Leah Brahms. Did you remember Leah Brahms? No. So I wonder if
I can record that and I can just put it on a button.
Oh, do you remember that?
My reference meter is low. So yes,
referometer. Yeah, that makes sense. So Leah Brahms is the biggie one. So she appeared in 2 episodes of TNG, and this is the lady that Rutherford imagines, and she basically helped design the Enterprise D and helped to design the new warp core. And really, kind of creepily, Geordi creates a hologram of her to help him solve a problem, and then kind of gets a bit jiggy with her. And then a couple of seasons later, the real Leah comes to help with a problem and finds his program of her.
So that's a direct reference then, like her being a fantasy to a
100% to an engineer. Yeah, it's exactly the same. So she's kind of
engineer with an eyepiece. Like that all makes
exactly.
sense.
Yeah. So it was really fun to see like a follow up to that, and to get the same. I just love that they get the same actors back as well. I know you probably I wouldn't have known the voice necessarily. It's very kind of, there's nothing too unique about it, but it's a really, really nice nod to bring everybody back. The plot overall, I think my favorite part was, I think it's actually the Tendi stuff, which is interesting. It's that defining the science officer as not just somebody that knows all of the science, but has to be brave enough to stand up to the captain as well. Because the science officers always kind of they do get the short end of the stick. They have the answers, but the captain is always like, let's go, enough of the science, let's get on with it.
It's interesting that's your favorite. Like the B plot did nothing for me in this episode. Like I'm always going to enjoy myself, but that plot line was really dry to me. Like it didn't seem to milk a ton of humor. A lot of the situational stuff that they cut back to with that plot line didn't really make me laugh. The whole fighting over the rock thing, it wasn't that funny to me. Like I don't like it was just like, I don't know. I think it was supposed to be one of those things that got funnier the longer it went, and it just never was funny to begin with to me. So that plot line was not my favorite. But yeah, I get what they were trying to do there. So and that's probably why it's interesting to you, because it's more kind of technical and detailed oriented. Yeah,
it's the rock thing it didn't get me either. I see what they were going for, but it is just that idea that Spock is almost like the butt of the joke on the crew, even though he has the answers, and it's just that stereotype of the science officer. It's not just about science, it's about promoting science and saying, yeah, you want to shoot it with phasers, but here's the actual solution, and here's the more complex stuff that we're looking at. And scientists, by stereotypical nature, aren't the most forward of people. Like maybe they're not as forceful, and they're more like kind of sitting in the background. So she has to find that balance of yeah, the science is right. I'm really confident about that, but being brave enough to push that forward. I love it when Star Trek does that.
There's too many sciences. There's too many sciences.
There is just the right amount of
Just the right amount of
sciences. Yeah,
sciences.
just the right amount. So what else stood out to you from the episode, Aaron?
I love Paul F. Tompkins. I will listen to him in any character, in any situation. I think he is hilarious. So that was the one part about the B plot that I really did like, was more with his character, and I think that stuff is really fun.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way the wish me luck, wish me facts thing was interesting to me.
Oh, that's so good. I do that. I hate saying good luck. I hate it because I don't mean it. I don't want luck for you. I want success.
So let's go ahead and mark off the bingo board. Aaron wants to have a deep philosophical conversation. But the luck thing is an interesting one. As a person of faith, when I grew up, learning, how God related to the world and different things like that, we were taught not to say luck, because there is no such thing as luck. Because if you have an omniscient, omnipotent God, then everything is intentional.
By design.
Everything is designed.
Got
So you would say, it literally had a teacher at my Christian high school who, instead of good luck, said providential good fortune.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that. I'm going to use that. Even though
but you don't believe that.
I don't believe that, but I love it. It's kind of a thing where it's like, wait, what?
I think you can take the providential part out and say good fortune, and kind of get there a little bit.
No,
but
because my bottom line is, I would want to say something. So say like you have a sports ball thing that you're going to do and you want to do well. I would be good. I would want to say good skill. Or
right, yeah.
Play at your best, or something like that.
So that's immediately what I thought was of providential good fortune instead of saying good luck. But it did it was interesting to me to say wish them facts instead of wish them luck, because I would think the idea of luck is much more comfortable, in the sciences than it is in dogma, right?
Okay.
So the idea that there is coincidence, or that something happens just because it happens, seems to be more comfortable in the sciences. So to go with wish them facts, I was like, okay, yeah, I get it. Like, facts are important to science, but also luck is important to science. I mean, it's kind of the whole Big Bang is it just happened, guys. Like
a lot of it is just that's weird,
right?
Rather than I was looking for that. That's exactly what that is.
Yeah. So
I
found that interesting.
That's really interesting. I love that as well.
Yeah.
I have a new nightmare now, which is clowns with batleth arms. I love the minds of these people. Like, what's the most fucked up thing that we can find? Clowns with batleth arms and a Borg snake. Let's go.
Yeah. No, that was all good.
We want your distinctiveness.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, I love that so much. I both love and wish we had more of the big dragon creature that just appeared when they smashed all of the orbs initially, and there was that big super colorful dragon. That's from the original the animated series.
Oh,
because
interesting.
They can animate whatever the heck they want, so they use dragons quite a bit. I believe it's a Kukulan.
Macaulay Culkin?
It's a Macaulay Culkin dragon. Yeah. Okay. It's a Coca can or something like that.
Release the Coca can?
Release the Coca-Cola can. Yeah. It's a Pepsi dragon. But yeah, I liked that, but I wanted more of it. But there's just every opportunity they always put in those little nods.
That was the one that got the guy and turned him to stone, and he lost his arms.
Yeah, Ransom's cheerleader. Yeah, who I'd completely forgotten about. And I don't think he appears in season 2. I think they forgot about him. And it's like, oh, he's back.
Yeah.
He just likes to promote Ransom.
I love that character. I think that character is hilarious. But
no, I think he's funny. He's definitely a good cheerleader for Ransom. Liked seeing the Hood again, which was the Excelsior class ship. I think it's Excelsior class, the one that's in orbit and did first contact and then left.
One of the things I did think was interesting and a little bit meta, which the show has done before, but the idea that that their ship is well known for all their shenanigans, and that leads to them having kind of a competition to see who could do better or whatever. It is really interesting to think of that, the fact that so much is happening to them, that the other parts of the fleet are just like, why are they always like, how are they always into stuff, like asking that question. They even said something like, you're like the Enterprise but for
The Cali class
the Cali
ships.
class ships or whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, because the Enterprise would be the same way. It's like, how is the Enterprise always at the middle of all of this stuff?
Always in these shenanigans. Yeah.
So
it is true. And it's because it's a TV show, Aaron. I don't know if you realised, but it would be quite dull if we were following the ship that did nothing.
What? This is a what show?
I mean, I would love it to be a reality TV show, but it's not, sadly. Man, I want that show. I want to live on the Enterprise. I don't know that I actually do want to live on the Enterprise, but I feel like I do.
Yeah, well, that's how it starts.
Cool. Well, with that, everybody, it's probably going to be another short ReSINstance as well, because it's a tricky show to send. But with that, let's head over to engineering for ReSINstance's Futile.
Warning. Warp core collapse in 10 seconds.
This is the part of the show where we re-engage our sin brains, remind ourselves that no TV show is without sin, even our beloved Star Trek and the unsinnable lower decks. Commodore, you first, sir.
Why do they have to turn them into statues to data mine them? What is the if the goal is information? Why are we killing people, or at very most making them inert statues? That seems to draw attention that you wouldn't necessarily, you could data mine them with just the fantasies, and they'll let them just hang out with their they'll probably want to hang out with their fantasies for a really long time. So then just get all the information you want. And am I misunderstanding something?
The longer they're alive, the better.
I don't understand the Medusa effect. I don't understand what that does, other than maybe it's just like a natural thing this rock does, and they found this rock. But I got the sense that they were creating this system of rocks to do this thing.
I think the rocks exist, and then they manipulate them to do the bad stuff and to do the data mining and the recording. The only way it makes sense is if they are still alive and thinking while they're rocks.
Yeah.
But then the only thing you're going to be data mining is, oh my God, help me, I'm stuck in a rock. This is terrifying.
Yeah.
The massive thing that you're forgetting about that is the captain, what's her name? I always forget her name. Beckett's mother. Captain... Help me out, Aaron.
I don't know. Mariner's her name, so...
Yeah, it's not her last name. Captain... Anyway, the captain of the Cerritos said, Captain's log, blah, blah, blah. I don't understand how this works. Which perfectly explains everything, Aaron.
Yeah.
I mean,
of course it does.
That's my biggest sin of the episode, is they blah, blah. Like, it's one of the dumbest things in writing is... I don't understand how any of this plot point works. Yeah, you wrote it, and now you're making a character also say something that you wrote to explain that you didn't think it through.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the beauty of Lower Decks as well. It is not designed to explain everything in a nice bow like Strange New Worlds. It's
that's not the goal.
It's fun here. It's fun.
Yeah, definitely.
I just kind of questioned do you need 2 California class ships on this mission? Like, there's plenty of missions we've seen where...
You do for the plot line.
Well, right, exactly. Like, you need it for the plot, but I kind of wish it had been a bigger problem. Like, this did not need 2 people.
If you start thinking about what they're tasked to do...
Yeah, dismantle a ship.
Which is move rocks.
Yes. Carefully.
Yeah. That have dangerous repercussions if you give it... Why are any sentient beings doing this work?
Drones. Yep.
Yeah, there's no reason.
No,
so
just beam the rocks up and then just transport them into the thing.
If we're just doing garbage cleanup, but it's very dangerous garbage.
Yeah, exactly. Like super duper dangerous. That should not happen. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. But plot.
Right.
It had to happen. Okay, what's your next one?
Why did Boimler's fantasy drive up from the distance? Everybody else's fantasy just appears in a puff of green smoke. Like, it's not trying to fool them into, but his starts in the distance, like a mile away, and drives up to him. Now I know the reason is, so we'll more believe that he believes it, because if it just appeared there, then we're not willing to go that far to think Boimler's that dumb that he would see it.
I don't know. I would have absolutely bought it. Or maybe it wasn't really far away. It was just a perspective thing. So it was just really, really tiny and then got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So maybe we didn't see the initial green puff. It just gets bigger.
This is fine. That is unlike everything else that happens with these rocks, but that is okay.
That happens.
But the other part of this that I think maybe a little bit of a missed opportunity, because I thought this might be where it was going, is that ended up being real, and Boimler missed out on a chance to be
my goodness.
wouldn't that have been hilarious?
That would have been
was
so
never
funny.
Like like the camera pans around after everything's done, and that guy's still there, and he's
Yes,
it's like, well, I guess you didn't want this job, and he takes off before Boimler gets to accept it or whatever.
That would be incredible.
I thought that's where we were headed. I thought that was funny, but
we need Aaron to write for Lower Decks as well. Get him on board.
Deal. Give me a call. Let's go.
Yeah, it would have been great if they write, well, Boimler, what's really weird is that you're immune to this effect. Like,
Yes.
your fantasy shouldn't have appeared. Oh, no.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
amazing. This is a really odd nitpick, but I don't like the cliche that so Tendi is an Orion and turns her nose up at the worms. And it's this idea that everybody would think worms aren't tasty. I was like, humans might not, but
There are plenty of humans that eat worms.
yeah,
like that's,
exactly.
You know,
It's like,
it's
I
just
don't
a
think
cultural thing.
That's the strangest thing that she could have been offered to eat. It would have been, I was kind of expecting her to go, hey, let's chow down, let's go. Not Andorians, Orions always eat worms. It's great.
Yeah.
But I was getting super duper duper nitpicky. But my next big one was that they can see each other's fantasies. So the whole fantasy thing, they must have a physical form because
for sure.
they could all be seen by everybody. So is it projecting? It's not projecting them. It's actually creating them
it's
out
creating
of matter.
them. Yeah.
Which then makes me wonder, why did the rocks stop them? Why couldn't they just apparate inside the cave? Why did the rocks
because
do
they're made of
anything?
stuff. That's why the rocks stop them.
But then, was there something about the cave that stopped them appearing inside the cave?
Well, the rocks weren't inside the cave, were they?
Does that matter? Like,
I
there
think
didn't seem
so.
to be like a proximity thing.
No. But the rocks have to create the stuff.
Yeah.
So there would have to be a rock in the cave to create whatever would apparate in the cave.
I don't. I'm just amazed that I don't know. I don't think that
So think of them as 3D printers. Okay.
Yeah. Got it.
So each of these rocks is like a 3D printer that specifies in your deepest desires and fantasies, right? So there were no 3D printers in the cave. So there was no way to print anything in there. But the stuff that had been printed outside the cave got stopped because it was a physical thing, couldn't get through the rocks.
Okay.
That's how I'm seeing it, at least.
Okay. But it still appeared out of thin air.
Yes, yeah, it's nanotechnology. You know, everything is
okay.
nanotechnology.
I would still send the heck out of that.
Of course.
Okay, what have you got next?
Let's see. I already mentioned that arguing about who takes the rock didn't really do it for me. I probably would have found some way to send them for stealing the room with idea balls from Inside Out when they got into the middle of the cave.
Okay,
It's like Inside Out, but for data mining, you know, instead of emotions. So I probably would have done something like that.
Yeah, I think you definitely have to send that. That's amazing. I didn't have a huge amount else, to be completely honest. I mean, the big thing is they blah blah the entire ending of the story.
I might have. This could be sinned all the time because it's a character thing, and so maybe that's why it wouldn't be sinned. But the bedside manner stuff is always so hilarious to me.
Oh man, I love it so much.
It was my favorite part. Like the funniest part of this episode
Dr.
is her just
is
casually
hilarious.
mentioning that the patient that's sitting right there is going to lose his
Every time.
appendage. Yeah,
That's
I
so
loved
great.
that bit. That was great.
This guy's about to lose his foot and he's not crying. I'm going to lose my foot.
Yeah, so good.
There's no way she's coming in there with a chainsaw to take it off. I just wish we saw the end of that. Like, what does she actually do? Or does she actually saw the foot off?
In
It's
what
great.
world? In what world do they need a chainsaw? What does a chainsaw do for them?
don't
Nothing.
know.
Why
It
would they
makes a
have a
mess.
chainsaw on that ship? That makes no sense.
I don't know. You have to get through bulkheads and phasers. Either way, phasers do it better.
I was gonna say there's no need for a chainsaw. It accomplishes nothing that
That's
something else
amazing.
couldn't do.
That's incredible. Dr. Ta'ana really makes me think of Rick in Rick and Morty. She's the most Rick of all of the people.
Oh, yes. Very much.
I wish we would get more of her. I really, really do.
Yeah.
What did you think of the bird counselor? Do you remember him from season 1? I don't think he appeared much last season.
Oh, absolutely. Again, because I love Paul F. Tompkins. Like that character has always been one of my favorites. So I love his delivery, and I love the way he can play that thing that's like at the same time is completely arrogant and just completely missing the mark.
Yeah.
And He does the same thing in BoJack Horseman, and he's so great in BoJack Horseman. And I love Paul F. Tompkins. So yeah, I definitely remember that character.
I mean, I do wish the show was longer than 20 minutes because there is such a great cast here. And we only get to see little snippets of them. I was really hoping, and this is a sin, that there was I was really hoping that Rutherford, when he was being data mined, they were going to find the secret, because there was some classified stuff, and I was hoping they were going to find what happened to him. They were going to dig into a memory that he doesn't have access to, that gave a little bit more of the secret to what's going on with him and his implant. But with 3 episodes in and they haven't referenced it, was it just a passing line in the finale, or do you think they're actually going to revisit that? I
think they'll revisit it. But I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know.
They may just never come up with it again. Yeah. I would love that as a little undercut. I think that's the only thing that might be missing is a through theme a through line of some sort.
I don't miss that at all.
No, I know you don't, but I'm beginning to realize I like it.
Well, I like it in some shows. I just don't want it in every show. I don't think every show needs it, and especially a 20-minute sitcom where I just tune in to smile and laugh a little bit. Yeah. I don't need the through line. I was raised on shows never having a through line. That's something people forget is TV shows were for the longest time designed that you could just watch an episode at any time, at any order.
Doesn't matter.
Does not matter. There was nothing linear about shows, at least on a micro level of the relationships in Friends or whatever. There's that kind of stuff, but for the most part, you can watch any episode of Friends at any time.
Yeah,
or Seinfeld or whatever.
Yeah, very, very true. Maybe we're just getting old. Cool. Do you have anything else?
No. Maybe I did have a little bit, this probably could be explained, but I just had a little bit of trouble understanding how the whole thing happened, the whole thing that they were trying to do started. So the thing we saw at the beginning, right? The guy that sees his geology teacher, or
in a toga,
in a very revealing toga.
Yes.
He is turned to rock.
Yeah.
Are we supposed to believe that's the inciting incident that gets the Federation involved, or are they already data mining at that point and they're data mining that person?
Because the scientists were in on it.
They're all in cahoots. So this is my question: when did they get in cahoots? How long have they been doing this? And how did that start?
Hey, rock people.
Right?
And what is in it for the rock people? That is the big thing they blah blah. I guess they get more rocks.
The whole thing is blah. It's not even blah blah. It's just ignored. The whole idea of why this is what it is not addressed. And maybe it could be figured out, but I can't figure out how did they start working together to data mine? Who made that suggestion? When did they make that suggestion?
Yeah.
And who was that person at the beginning? Was that meant to be before they started to team up together, or was that meant to be after?
Because there's no kind of 10 years later or 6 months later, we don't know when that initial thing happened. So I would imagine that's the first contact situation, because the scientists know about the orbs when we come to meet them. He's completely, oh, hey, this is interesting. Let's have a look at this. So it doesn't specify a time jump, but there must be a big time jump.
There's a scene with a whole bunch of scientist statues. You know, it's not like it just happened to one person. So I get confused.
That means they sacrificed some people.
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand.
Yeah.
At some point, did one of them be like, hold on, my fantasy is to work with an alien race on data mining. Oh, wait, that sounds like a good idea. Let's do that.
Oh, then it's Inception, and the whole thing, it wasn't about data mining. That was just one person's fantasy that they were all experiencing.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Man, no, that doesn't work. But we still love it anyway, regardless.
Yes.
Commodore, thank you for joining. I'm going to still get, Ambassador. Commodore, thank you for joining us. Where can people find you, interact with you, and talk to you?
Oh, I don't. Just
don't interact with it.
It's really not worth your time. Really, honestly, I know. Listen, I know right now you are having this urge to figure out what else I do, where else you can hear my voice. You're like, oh man, I really wish I could hear. It's not worth it. I'm not worth it. But it's Aaron Dicer, so you can just search that on Twitter.
Amazing. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. I think we're definitely going to have you back for Strange New Worlds Season 3.
Great. I
too,
love
if you're available.
Yeah, I loved doing Strange New Worlds. I'm happy to be on board for SNW.
Yeah, cannot wait for that. Coming next year. Well, thank you for listening, everybody. Thank you to everybody that joined us on the Twitch chat, on Captain's Pod Live, on CinemaSins Live, and on CSPN on YouTube. Thank you for listening, everyone. My brain is going to explode with science.
And stop looking at my heart rate from me.
Live long and Podsper.
Thanks for listening. Want to connect with the show? Our hailing frequencies are always open through captainspod at cinemasins.com. Like, comment, and subscribe on your podcast player of choice, and be sure to visit cinemasins.com.
We are live. If Ian could get the mic round to his face hole.
You have several.
Yes, one of my face holes. It was quite near one of them already.
Let's start this conversation by talking about all of our body's different holes.
What's your favorite hole, Aaron, of all of the holes?
One I don't have, actually.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, no, that checks out. That's a fun one.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
I like vaginas.
Hello. We have sudden Aaron Dicer, Commodore.
Sudden Aaron!
In the chair. There was a mix-up in the transporter room. I was supposed to lock onto the ambassador, and instead I completely turned her into a new person. This is actually still Deneé, just in a Aaron suit.
I am so mad right now. I mean, it was interesting for the first few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
tell me the differences between being Deneé and Aaron.
There's this whole thing going on downstairs that I'm not used to. I've been really excited about this day, so I've been drinking lots of water.
Oh,
waiting for the chance.
Yeah.
Waiting for the chance.
How is that going to affect your bigger feet? What does water have to do with your feet?
You may be misunderstanding me.
So, if you were here for last week's live show, we did episode 1. We're going to confuse you now and do episode 3 because we separately recorded episode 2 and released that on Saturday. So you had 2 episodes last week so that we could get caught up and do it all weekly. And I got cut up for the amount we had to record to get that done.
So this is only confusing if you watch the live show, right? Like if you're just listening to the podcast, if you're listening to this on the podcast.
Yes.
You're not confused.
However, this bit is going to be in the outtakes, so this bit may not even be in the show.
That's right.
I'm just explaining to everyone live.
Got it.
Okay, so this is only confusing if you are only watching on Twitch. So if you don't consume the podcast any other way other than Twitch, you'll be wondering why we skipped episode 2. But we didn't go and download the podcast like a regular human being and listen to us that way.
Browser can't access your devices. Close any other applications that might be using your camera/microphone, Skype, or Zoom. Then refresh them. If that doesn't work, try restarting your browser or computer.
I have the StreamYard people on the line. They say that's a hideous impression of their developer, and they want you to stop.
I love it if you called for tech support and then goes, "Hello,
hi, how can I help?"
Oh, are you having problem with your StreamYard again?
I'm all about you adding your stuff to my things.
Wow. Okay. Well, Deneé, come back.
Please.
Come back, Deneé.
HR. We need HR. Man, how awkward would that be on a starship, the HR department? Where are you going to go? We're in deep space. We're 5 years away from anyone.
Yeah.
What you going to do?
Be in your deep space. Hey, we can't say that here. We can't say that here.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go. I'll show you where to go. Hey, you're stuck on this ship with me. Stop. Stop.
I'll warp your core. Get off my bridge.
Yeah, there you go.
Amazing. I love it. What's this? Deneé's been adding things.
Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Captain.
Why are they all on loop?
I don't know.
Can you please take them all off loop? That is so annoying.
Okay, let's
Thank
stop
you,
that.
Captain. Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Captain. Thank you, Captain. This is. I don't know what's going on there, but it's happening repetitively, and he's very thankful for it.
No, stop it. Captain's Pod, stardate 5120922.4. Welcome aboard the Starship Cinta. Wrong time, Ian. Wrong time.
The Starship Cinta Wrong Time is a new addition to the fleet.
It's actually a shuttlecraft that always turns up late.
That's right. Dos horitos Eat some burritos.
No.
With some Doritos.
Stop.
On the Cerritos.
No one's going to listen to the show anymore if we keep misnaming the ships. Or at least I won't. Cool. We've got some time for a few questions.
Let's do it.
From Zinc Stout. Question for consideration. Ian and Aaron and Deneé in brackets.
Mm-hmm.
What would your fantasy rock show you to put you off your job? Aaron, you first. So you're hard at work, you're writing, you're sinning.
Right.
What does the rock show you to
Right.
distract you?
Yeah.
A pun.
Yes, the perfect pun.
A really good pun. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah, a really good wordplay.
And then you just immediately get back to work and work that
Yeah.
into the script.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
exactly.
That's brilliant. You go next, Deneé. We'll wait. We'll just sit here and wait for you to type out your
the
answer.
entire delay. You know, whatever the delay is for your
Yep.
answer.
Oh, wait, hang on. Did she get it that quick? Rock
David
show.
Bowie.
Having not seen the episode, I'm saying David Bowie. That would be super duper distracting.
Yeah.
Having him turn up and just have a little jam session, that'd be amazing.
It would probably more accurately for me be like real life Pixar characters to interact with or whatever.
man.
Like all of a sudden the Incredibles are there to hang out with.
Woody just turns up
Yeah.
and just have a chat with him. You know?
I imagine often with these rocks that Woody just turns up, but
Oh, man. Yeah.
I would imagine that's a normal thing.
I think mine was dangerously close to what Boimler's fantasy was. It's Captain Picard on
Right.
a thing. I jump in the side, go, just come with me, we must defeat the Borg. Basically, yeah, just give me a holodeck, or it would be like, here's your uniform, Ian. Jump into uniform. You're my first officer. It would happen.
Yep.
I wish. Okay, ideal Star Trek crew based off of all the different treks. Aaron hates fantasy casting.
Mine would be Shatner's Kirk,
Wrong.
Nimoy's Spock, probably DeForest Kelly as Bones. Let's see. Yeah. Uhura. Yeah, I'd want Uhura. Scotty. I'd want Scotty. Yeah.
Yeah. So you basically just got the original crew.
Oh, you caught on to that,
Is
did
that
you?
really what you're doing? No imagination. This would take me far too long. I think it would really, really quickly. It's going to be Captain Janeway, then Commander Riker, Tuvok at security, Geordie in engineering, everybody. Then Cisco on the bridge as well. I'm just going to start naming everyone. Stamets in engineering. Boimler on the bridge. I want everybody. I want a big old ship where everybody comes in and has a play. What, is that too much to ask?
Is there a Star Trek version of the game Clue? Because when you said Boimler on the bridge, it just made me think of a Star...
Boimler on the bridge with a bone saw.
Yeah, with the bone saw.
Yeah, nice.
Bum,
Bum, bum, bum, bum.